Humans have done enough to cause the extinction of certain animals, while other types of animals disappeared due to, well, let's say, natural selection. As sad as it is, there are scientists and researchers doing their best to bring back certain species vital for life here on Earth, from a flightless bird to a cute elephant. Here are 15 extinct animals being brought back to life. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now, let's get started. Number 20. Arthropleura. Arthropleura, a genus of giant millipedes, inhabited the prehistoric depths of North America and Europe nearly 200 million years ago. These animals were the largest land invertebrates ever discovered. Thank God we escaped those dangerous times. Imagine coming across a monster measuring an impressive 2.5 meters in length. Tracks up to 50 centimeters wide were discovered, leaving a terrifying trail. But hold on to your hats, because a recently discovered fossilized exoskeleton, a remnant of that ancient terror, measures an impressive 55 centimeters in width and a terrifying 3 meters in length. This giant millipede, weighing 50 kilograms, was a force to be reckoned with. What caused Arthropleura to grow to such giant proportions? It turns out that the prehistoric environment had a higher partial pressure of oxygen, allowing these crawling creatures to grow in size. Additionally, the absence of large terrestrial vertebrate predators allowed Arthropleura to roam freely, dominating the Earth with its immense presence. Fortunately, we no longer have to deal with these enormous crustaceans, but what sets Arthropleura apart from its common millipede relatives? To start, their exoskeletons were adorned with well-developed three-lobed ridges, making it a creepy and terrifying crawler with armored tubercles and terrifying surfaces. Only a small oval plate at the front was detected. Now, let's talk about the legs. Arthropleura was thought to be like the Diplodocus, meaning it had 2 pairs of legs per segment. This ancient terror had 3 pairs of ventral plates, along with its fearsome army of legs. These plates may have even functioned as respiratory organs, ensuring that Arthropleura was always prepared for a terrifying battle. Contrary to popular belief, Arthropleura wasn't confined to coal forests, but led a more autonomous existence. Fossilized tracks have been found in open regions, and the terrifying millipedes continued to leave their marks long after the collapse of the Carboniferous tropical forests. The extinction of Arthropleura was likely linked to the drying of the equator, showing that even the most powerful species can succumb to changes in time. So, we can finally be sure that these ancient horrors are no longer present. Number 19. Smilodon, the notorious saber-toothed predator. The Smilodon roamed across the Americas during the Pleistocene, which lasted from 2.5 million to 10,000 years ago. Most of its fossils have been discovered in Brazil. Before you start imagining the typical tiger, let me emphasize that the Smilodon was not related to tigers or any modern felines. Now let's talk size, shall we? This fierce feline reached a terrifying weight of 466 kilograms and an impressive height of 120 centimeters. In other words, it was a monster among felids, a real nightmare in flesh and bone. Imagine a predator more robust than any cat you've ever encountered, with 4 limbs that would make Arnold Schwarzenegger envious. Its upper canine teeth were thin, fragile, and alarmingly long. The Smilodon's jaw displayed a cavernous mouth, perfect for precise attacks. These cats were the top predators of their time and were armed to the teeth, literally. Consider a fearsome cat holding its prey still with its powerful front limbs and delivering a bone-chilling bite. As for the Smilodon's hunting methods, scientists disagree on how it delivered the fatal blow. But one thing is certain: it was a specialist in eliminating large herbivores, such as bison and camels. It was a tenacious hunter, easily adapting to new prey. In South America, the Smilodon's ambush attacks were well complemented by forests and dense vegetation, allowing it to strike terror into the hearts of unsuspecting prey. The complexity of the Smilodon's environment becomes clear when we explore it further. Its brain showed patterns comparable to those of modern felines, indicating that it had an enhanced sense of hearing, sight, and limb coordination. However, its small eyes and less forward-facing orientation distinguished it from modern felines. The Smilodon was skilled at hiding in the deep forests. Did I mention its incredible jumping ability? That's right, this predator could leap with surgical precision, making it even more dangerous when pursuing its victim. But like every nightmare, the reign of the Smilodon came to an end when most of the megafauna of North and South America perished around 10,000 years ago. This fearsome predator met the same fate. The reason for its extinction is still unknown. Some believe that its reliance on massive prey, climate change, and competition with other species sealed its fate. The truth, however, remains obscure, allowing us to speculate on the fate of this horrifying animal. Number 18. Quetzalcoatlus. The Quetzalcoatlus was such a fearsome creature that it could have meant the end of humanity had it survived. It was a genus of pterosaurs from the Azhdarchidae family that dominated North America during the late Cretaceous period. These enormous beasts were the largest flying creatures to ever grace our planet. They were a force to be reckoned with their massive wingspans and long, stiff necks. The name Quetzalcoatlus was derived from the Aztec deity, the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl, and it certainly lived up to its name. When it was discovered in 1975, experts estimated its wingspan to be an impressive 16 meters. The giant wings of the Quetzalcoatlus allowed it to command the skies, casting terrifying shadows over the unsuspecting land below. Estimating the body mass of these massive creatures is a difficult task since no other species shares similar size or body structure. However, a recent study suggests larger weight estimates, ranging from 200 to 250 kilograms. The sheer magnitude of these numbers is enough to freeze the mind of anyone. According to skull materials, the Quetzalcoatlus had a beak sharp as a knife. Previous reconstructions used fragments of the jaw from another species, which resulted in a blunter nose. The exact shape of the crest on its skull remains unknown, adding an eerie aura of mystery to these already intimidating creatures. But what about their flying abilities? Could they soar through the sky with a terrifying grace? Mark Whitten, a daring British paleontologist, investigated claims about the lack of flight in large pterosaurs. He discovered that the Quetzalcoatlus could fly at impressive speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour, based on detailed calculations of its wingspan, body weight, and aerodynamics. Imagine a giant plummeting from the clouds at such an incredible speed. Furthermore, another researcher, Habib, proposed a maximum flying distance for these winged terrors of 13,000 to 19,000 kilometers, ensuring no one would be safe from their terrifying presence. With its immense size and magnificent wingspan, the Quetzalcoatlus certainly had a diet to match its adventures. While details about its diet are still being debated among experts, the Quetzalcoatlus likely preferred medium-sized animals. It could have eaten a variety of creatures, including fish, small reptiles, and potentially other flying animals. The Quetzalcoatlus, with its sharp beak and powerful jaws, would have been well equipped to grab and consume its unsuspecting prey, demonstrating its skill as an aerial predator in the prehistoric skies. Imagine what would have happened if the Quetzalcoatlus continued to roam the world. No one would have dared to step foot on a helicopter. Number 17. Titanoboa. This colossal snake, with its gigantic size and deadly reputation, represented an unimaginable danger to any living creature that crossed its path. This colossal predator made even the boldest anaconda seem like a garden snake. In contrast, the Titanoboa, a terrifying name, was a monster of enormous proportions. It roamed the Earth around 60 million years ago. During the Paleocene period, imagine a snake so large and incomprehensible that it would scare even the boldest herpetologists. It is estimated that the Titanoboa reached lengths of up to 10 meters and weighed 2,500 pounds. Here lies the terror of a snake capable of surpassing a school bus and easily coiling around a mammoth. We can't help but shudder at the thought of this ancient snake, its shining scales, the color of dusk, which added to its terrifying presence. The sight of its sinuous form, moving with captivating grace, would freeze any observer's spine. It possessed a strength beyond the natural world, a diabolical grace that concealed its lethal purpose. The Titanoboa thrived in the hot and humid jungles of the Paleocene. Its habitat, now the region of Carachon, Colombia, was a safe haven for this enormous snake. The area was covered by dense tropical forests, with a wide variety of flora and fauna. The Titanoboa flourished in an ecosystem characterized by towering trees, lush vegetation, and vast water systems. Fish, turtles, and other reptiles were abundant in the swamps and rivers. The Titanoboa reigned as the apex predator among the lush vegetation and murky waterways, terrifyingly dominating its prehistoric domain. The distinct features of the Titanoboa set it apart from any other snake that has slithered through the annals of time. Its colossal size attests to its dominance in the primordial realm. It was the largest snake that ever existed, surpassing its modern counterparts. The mere prospect of encountering this terrifying beast in the wild causes nightmares. The Titanoboa had a voracious appetite, as well as a distinctive palate. Researchers believe that this slithering creature became a predator after adapting to a diet of fish. Its head exhibited adaptations such as specialized dental morphology and the shape of the palate. The Titanoboa had a large banquet of aquatic food to feed on, thanks to the vast river networks of its habitat and the abundance of fossilized fish. One might wonder how a monster like this could have represented a threat to humanity had it survived to the present day. Consider a world where the Titanoboa slithered stealthily through dense forests, seeking its prey with planned precision. Humans, fragile and defenseless, would be powerless against this ancient monster. Its appetite was limitless, relentless, and its hunger would drive it to seek larger and more challenging prey. But do not worry, the titanoboa has long since slithered into extinction. The passage of time and the evolution of our planet have erased its existence from the fabric of Earth. We can take comfort in the idea that we will never face this terror in our daily lives. Number 16. Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus stood out as a serious threat in the dangerous world of prehistoric predators. This dinosaur, whose name literally translates to spine lizard, lived in North Africa during the late Cretaceous period, almost 99 million years ago. Had it survived, humanity would have been in great danger from this horrible beast. Imagine seeing a Spinosaurus growing up to 15 meters in length. Its immense size alone would send chills down your spine. Recent research suggests it could have weighed about 8 metric tons. Still, a creature of such size would surely terrify anyone unlucky enough to encounter it. The Spinosaurus had a small snout and straight, cone-shaped teeth without serrations. It had 6 or 7 teeth in the front of its upper jaw, followed by 12 prominent teeth in the lower jaw. This unusual configuration created a gap between the front teeth and the huge teeth in the lower jaw, enabling a terrifying bite. The tip of its snout was extended, and a small crest was added in front of the eyes. Estimates of the length of its skull range from 1.7 to 1.5 meters, but it wasn't just its head that was scary. The Spinosaurus had a long, strong neck that curved into an attractive S shape. Its shoulders were broad, and its enormous forelimbs were extremely powerful, with 3 claws on each hand. The first finger, or thumb, was particularly strong. Its back was also adorned with unusually long neural spines, which served as the base for its distinctive sail. The diameter of these spines was more than 10 times larger than the vertebral bodies from which they extended. Scientists still debate the role of the Spinosaurus's sail. Some believe it served for thermoregulation, while others suggest its function was display, making the beast even larger and more intimidating. Whatever its purpose, the sail contributed to the terrifying appearance of the creature. One of the most notable aspects of the Spinosaurus is its eating habits. Its elongated jaws, cone-shaped teeth, and elevated nostrils suggest it may have been a fish eater. This idea is supported by the presence of fish scales found in the rib cages of other similar spinosaurids. However, evidence indicates that the Spinosaurus was a versatile predator, capable of hunting and scavenging when necessary. It may have been a generalist predator, similar to large brown bears, with a preference for fishing. There are also indications that it hunted pterosaurs, the flying reptiles of the time, as evidenced by a tooth found embedded in a pterosaur bone. We all know the T-Rex, a fearsome predator. It was one of the largest dinosaurs, measuring 12.3 meters in length and weighing up to 9 tons. However, its size pales in comparison to the colossal Spinosaurus, a true prehistoric monster. With its impressive length and weight, the Spinosaurus earned the title of the largest known carnivorous dinosaur, casting an intimidating shadow over its cousin, the T-Rex. Number 15. The northern white rhinoceros. Now, it's kind of discouraging to be the most endangered of anything, but the northern white rhinoceros tops the list of the most endangered mammals on the planet. Scientists have started using in vitro fertilization, IVF, to revive this endangered species. The 2 remaining rhinoceroses, a mother and daughter named Najin and Fatu, are currently being protected in a reserve near Mount Kenya. The process used takes sperm from already deceased rhinoceroses and combines it with genetically processed eggs from living southern rhinoceroses. To collect the eggs, scientists had to invent a special 1.8-meter device that stimulates the ovaries of the females. Once the process begins, it takes about 18 months from start to finish, with the next generation expected to be born sometime in 2022. The causes of their near extinction are poaching, civil wars, and habitat destruction. The northern white rhinoceros isn't going away without a fight. With the help of science and a dedicated group of researchers, the rhinoceros may have a strong resurgence in the near future. Such a beautiful and powerful creature deserves nothing less, in my humble opinion. Before we continue, like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell now, or this centipede will crawl on your face while you sleep. Number 14. The saber-toothed tiger. Fierce, ancient, and iconic aren't even close to being enough to describe our next item on the list, a saber-toothed tiger. How could something so powerful have gone extinct? Well, according to science, about 10,000 years ago, climate changes, the resulting loss of prey, and overhunting by our ancient ancestors led to the disappearance of the Smilodon. Its habitat at the time was the frozen tundras of North America, but some scientists believe evidence points to this species existing as far back as 1.2 million years ago. Weighing between 220 and 400 400 kilograms, this apex predator would have had a relatively easy life if it were revived in the near future. One of the major questions raised to scientists is how we can create the right environment to bring back such an ancient and predatory species. While there isn't a direct answer, many scientists believe the key to reviving such animals lies in finding and/or creating a suitable environment that would allow them to thrive as they should. Although it would be super cool to have such an animal roaming the earth again, such a feat would be very difficult to accomplish. So here's to you and your safe return, saber-toothed tiger. Number 13. The dodo. Which of you would guess that such a silly and cheerful bird like the dodo would have genomes originating from dinosaurs? I certainly wouldn't have imagined that. When it was discovered in the 17th century, the dodo was the closest relative to dinosaurs. Standing about 1 meter tall, this flightless and not very intelligent bird existed on the island of Mauritius but went extinct in the 17th century, shortly after humans discovered it. Now, more than 400 years later, scientists believe they may be able to bring the bird back by cloning some of its closest relatives. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does this really mean we can bring back dinosaurs? The short answer is, not exactly, but we can still obtain the closest relative to the dodo, as well as to the passenger pigeons. What caused the dodo's extinction? Well, besides not being the smartest bird, its instinct to lay a single egg on the ground, where rats and other animals could eat it, didn't help much. This has scientists questioning whether or not they should try to bring the dodo back. Well, personally, I would love to see a dodo again, because they seem so funny and entertaining. Number 12. The Pyrenean ibex. The Pyrenean ibex, which is the fancy term for the ancient version of the mountain goat, began its revitalization in 2003 after being completely extinct in January 2000 with the death of a goat named Celia. In the 19th century, its long and majestic horns made it the target of many hunters who wanted to take them as trophies. By the time humans realized the species was on the brink of extinction, it was too late. Even before Dolly, the cloned sheep, in 1996, a group of Spanish scientists began researching the subject in 1989. Who did they try to clone? Well, you guessed it, the Pyrenean ibex. Before Celia's death, this group had collected DNA samples. After studying the ibex's physiology, the scientists determined that a crossbreed between a regular goat and an ibex would serve as an excellent surrogate mother. Using 57 surrogate mothers, the scientists took Celia's genetic code and injected it into empty eggs. 7 of these eggs became pregnant, and one of the 7 gave birth to a baby clone of Celia. Wow, the magic of science knows no limits. Number 11. The Australian gastric brooding frog. In the frog language, it means, "Here I go, baby." The gastric brooding frog, also known as the Australian frog, isn't as dark and melancholic as its name suggests. It's coming back, though. Discovered in 1972, the species quickly disappeared from the face of the earth in the 80s. Maybe there's a connection there. Well, the frog was considered extinct due to a fungal infection caused by human contact. Before we get to its revitalization, I'd like to mention something very interesting about them: their pregnancy process. This frog literally eats the fertilized eggs, and during this process, its stomach transforms from an acidic bath into a sterile and comfortable womb. Isn't that cool? Anyway, before the frog went extinct, scientists managed to freeze some of its cells, which were already in an embryonic state, a crucial phase just before they turned into tadpoles. Because of this, for the frog's initial extinction, scientists aren't sure if, after bringing it back, it won't go extinct again. So, let's raise a toast to this species and wish for a healthy and prosperous return. Number 10. The passenger pigeon. Already mentioned on the list, we now reach our friend, the passenger pigeon. Widely found in the early 1800s, this pigeon was hunted to extinction due to deforestation over the next 100 years, with the last one being killed in 1900. Now, imagine being the person who killed the last of a species. It must be quite an intense feeling, I imagine. Without intact cells to reproduce, scientists had to scour the genetic pools of related pigeons, gradually managing to reconstruct the genetic code of the passenger pigeon with some improvements. Because of the way the process was done, cloning techniques had to be different from those used previously. As the process for birds is different, the egg's nucleus has to be removed by scientists. But since the egg has a shell, they were able to use older techniques without breaking the shell, and thus killing the embryo. Why am I suddenly craving scrambled eggs with toast? Number 9. The glyptodon. This next animal is a real tank. No, seriously, it's literally a tank. Just kidding. But the Glyptodon was called a giant version of an armadillo, which is like the tank of animals, with a large armored shell. This mammal was discovered to be extinct in North America at the end of the last ice age. Despite being a fairly successful species, using DNA found, scientists managed to determine that the Glyptodon's genealogy spanned only 35 million years, which isn't a lot of time when we talk about a species' roots. As it is seen as a successful species, there's a heated debate among scientists about the exact reason for its extinction, with climate change being the most supported theory. After finding Glyptodon shells, scientists throughout history tried to figure out which mammal this shell could belong to, without success. They then turned to the armadillo, as it was the only marsupial mammal with such a tough armor. Sometimes I wish I had such an armor, although I'm not exactly sure what I'd do with it. I just think it would be cool. Number 8. The Tasmanian tiger. Don't confuse it with the Tasmanian devil. The thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger, shares a similar fate to the Australian frog, death by fungus. Oh, and also by bullets, of course, but the fungus, it's still there. Scientists believe the fungus first spread to the world around 4 million years ago, and then saw its end in September 1936. Although the Tasmanian tiger looks like a cat and is literally called a tiger, it's not actually one. It belongs to the marsupial family, along with koalas, kangaroos, and others. It would be the first and only carnivorous marsupial. While it is possible to bring this creature back and research is underway, scientists aren't very optimistic about it because to bring it back completely, they would need a marsupial host like the goat Celia, capable of giving birth to its clone. Unfortunately, they haven't found any species that could support this. I guess that's a problem that comes with being unique. It can't be brought back from the dead. Number 7. Aurochs. The first attempt to revive the next animal on our list, the aurochs, was made in 1930 by two German brothers, Lutz and Heinz Heck, who were openly Nazi supporters. I mean, who did they think they were? They were Nazis, so I'll cut myself some slack on this comment. Anyway, the Heck brothers found a way to reverse the breeding process of the aurochs and crossed cattle with characteristics similar to the aurochs. This was called, in a very straightforward way, backcrossing music. Over time, this resulted in what they called Heck cattle. Well, to hell with that. I can't think of any jokes about Heck, but that name certainly deserves more. Anyway, during World War II, the Heck cattle seemed to survive. There were some attempts to recreate their original habitat, mainly composed of dense forests, but with little success. To this day, the Heck cattle is still subjected to multiple backcrossing experiments, not necessarily to bring back its appearance, but its behavior. Although they went extinct long ago, they surely made a big comeback. Nailed the joke, right? Number 6. Quagga. A type of zebra with stripes only on half of its body. The quagga went extinct in 1883. 100 years later, in 1983, scientists used a technique similar to backcrossing to restore the quagga to existence. The technique was driven by the idea that it's not too far from the modern zebra and could be brought back through selective breeding. The product of these experiments, called Quagga 2.0, still roams freely in the wild today in the Ellensburg Nature Reserve, South Africa. After studying a dozen specimens from museums around the world, Dr. Robert Fleischer concluded that the quagga had been an isolated species from South Africa for about 200,000 years, reaching an impressive 2.55 meters in height. Quaggas were said to travel in herds of around 30 to 50 while they existed. They were described as wild and lively animals. Just imagine trying to tame an animal that size. Challenge accepted, quagga. I'm 1.93 meters tall, and I bet I'd probably get trampled pretty quickly. Number 5. The Irish moose. The next animal was widely called the Irish moose, but it never lived in Ireland and isn't really a moose. Lies everywhere. In fact, it is a deer, a gigantic deer to be more exact. And moreover, it's the largest deer that ever existed. It is said to have stood 7 feet tall, with antlers reaching another 12 feet. 12 whole feet. That would be a crazy way to die, right? Knowing you were impaled by one of those. Scientists have found well-preserved pieces of its DNA, so for now, it's on the short list of animals to be cloned, although it's not yet clear when the process will happen. The Irish part of the name comes simply because fossils of the creature were found in Ireland, although this deer was likely found throughout Europe, as well as parts of southern Asia and northern Africa. Once again, like many others on this list, the Irish moose met its end due to the last ice age. I wish I could have seen them, these super animals, but let's be honest, I probably wouldn't have lasted long, especially without the internet, right? Number 3. The ground sloth. Speaking of giants, imagine Sid from the movie Ice Age, but much bigger. That's what we have with the ground sloth, not very different from the tree sloth. This is another one of the unfortunate creatures that didn't survive the Ice Age. Living throughout North and South America, the last remnants of ground sloths were detected in the Antilles, and they existed there until around 1500 BC. While the Ice Age is the main theory for its extinction, this is another species with several theories and factors that could have contributed to its disappearance. Despite its size, the ground sloth apparently had a pretty efficient way of hiding from predators thanks to its color, and it's another animal whose fossils were found with marks left by hunters' tools. According to scientists, there are groups actively trying to bring back the ground sloth. How advanced are they? Well, that's uncertain for now, though technology has advanced enough that at least a clone may not be that far off. Number 2. The woolly mammoth. The modern African elephant and the woolly mammoth share many characteristics, from their enormous size to the size of their tusks. The big difference between the two, however, is that one of them is furry. Furry, in this case, means covered in hair, and that fur was what made them very well suited to survive the Ice Age. So why the heck did they disappear? You got it again, folks. It was us who did it. But they really did have excellent fur to keep us warm, right? And the meat? Well, that was advantageous for humans back then, especially because of its durability. Found mostly in the so-called mammoth steppes in North America, the woolly mammoth could also be found in Eurasia. The idea of bringing the woolly mammoth back is a topic of enthusiastic debate in the scientific community. A group of Harvard students claims to be on their way to bringing it back, while another group of scientists says all of that is just propaganda, and they're just trying to secure funding. I really hope the first group isn't lying, because I would love to see one of those mammoths up close. Number 1. Dinosaurs. Wow, dinosaurs. That's right. We're preparing for something on the level of Jurassic Park, but maybe without all the people getting eaten while sitting on the toilet and dying this time. Although the movie revolves around bringing dinosaurs back through DNA found in a mosquito, scientists now believe that's impossible. When the movie was made, it was thought that this was the only way something so incredible could happen. Truly unbelievable, right? The fact is that reality is even crazier than fiction, of course. So here are the details. It turns out scientists are investigating a different path to dinosaurs, and that path is nothing less than chickens. That's right, the animal they serve fried, and in buckets is the key to unlocking dinosaur-themed theme parks. Because DNA breaks down over time, blood samples run out. Even with the chicken, the chances of cloning something from millions of years ago are pretty slim, unless, no, it's not possible. The only way this could happen would be if scientists got really lucky and found well-preserved dinosaur DNA. To quote Dr. Malcolm from Jurassic Park, "Just because you can doesn't mean you should." Well then, see you later, folks. I'm going out to grab some fried chicken and watch Jurassic Park again. If this were possible, which dinosaur would you visit first? Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Don't forget to check out other interesting content appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next